Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss about neural control and coordination. This is a very important topic for NEET, and our topic name is neural control and coordination. Okay, this is our topic: neural control and coordination. Coordination. Okay, here the word given was neural control and coordination. What is neural control and coordination? What is coordination? How our body is controlled, how all functions are integrated, all functions are coordinated. In our body, so many types of various types of systems is there. In each and every system working together, and they are associated and working together, they are interlinked each other. How can you say they are interlinked each other? How they coordinate each other? For example, one example we have to take. For example, if you do muscular what activity, do more exercise or anything, if you do more exercise or anything, what will be happen? Okay, our automatically, okay, our respiratory rate is increased. The muscular activity, when we do more muscular activity or exercise, what will be happen? Actually our respiratory rate is increased. That means interlinked with muscular system and also what? Respiratory system. When the respiratory system is increased, when the respiratory rate is increased, automatically we are consumed more oxygen. When we are consumed more oxygen, we get more energy. And also blood is circulate very fast. It circulates what? Oxygen, more oxygen throughout the body. So that each and every system in our body interlinked. That is we can call coordination. Okay, our body is homeostasis. What is the meaning of homeostasis? Homeostatis by, okay, that means our body status means what? Balance, stable, all functions are going on in proper way, in systematic manner. With some systems are useful to, okay, homeostasis in our body, in animals body. What is homeostasis? That means it control and coordinates all functions of the body, all systems of the body, all organ systems of the body. Which systems are useful to control and coordinate and homeostasis our body is what? Neural system and endocrine system. Mainly neural system and endocrine system. Endocrine systems are useful for coordination, control and coordinate the body. Okay, these two systems are very important. One is nervous system, second one is endocrine system. These two systems are very useful to control and maintain, okay, balance in our body, homeostasis in our body. Okay, so that now we are going to discuss about what, especially for, okay, nervous system. Especially for nervous system is the mainly classified and divided into two types. Okay, our nervous system is made up of what? Neurons. Neuron. Especially the nervous system is classified or divided into two types. What are they? The first one is CNS, C, nervous system, neural system or nervous system, classified into two types. Classified into two types. Okay, one is central nervous system, CNS, and second one is peripheral nervous system, PNS. Central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So that our nervous system mainly classified into two types. One is central nervous system, other one is peripheral nervous system. The first one is central nervous system. The central means what? Main, very important nervous system in our body. The central nervous system, okay, especially which organs we can call central nervous system? One is brain, and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord we can call central nervous system. Why? Because the brain and spinal cord, it coordinates all functions. Okay, the cause of whatever is there going on in our body, stimulus and response, showing stimulus and response by these two parts are very important. So that the name given what? Central nervous system. Which are that organs? Brain and spinal cord. And after that one, peripheral nervous system. Which is called peripheral nervous system? Some nerves are arises from central nervous system. Which are called central nervous system? Brain and spinal cord called central nervous system. Some nerves are arises from central nervous system, from brain. Okay, that is called cranial nerves. We can call cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves and spinal nerves these are called peripheral nervous system, PNS. Okay, so that our nervous system, neural system is divided into two types. One is central nervous system, other one is peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system again classified into brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system is divided into what? Especially for cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves, which arises from our brain, the cranial nerves are how many pairs? 12 pairs cranial nerves and 31 pairs are what? Spinal nerves. Okay, so that especially for the nervous system, neural system is classified into two types, CNS and PNS. CNS is what? Divided into mainly two organs are very important for in CNS. So that the main organs which are control and coordinates in our body, that is brain and spinal cord. After that one, PNS, which are arise from brain and spinal cord, that nerves we can call especially for PNS. The PNS especially for cranial nerves 12 pairs and spinal nerve 31 pairs. Okay, so that first of all we are going to discuss about what? Central nervous system. Okay, so in central nervous system, the first we are to discuss about what? Brain. Okay, we are going to discuss about brain. So that what we are discussing about central nervous system. Already we learned about central nervous system is divided into two parts. One is brain. Okay, so that now we are going to discuss about brain. Okay, here brain, very important organ in our body. That is nothing but think tank also. We can call think tank. It is useful to think. Okay, think tank. And okay, mainly the brain is divided into three parts. Okay, brain is divided into three parts. Okay, before going to discuss about the three parts, where it is located, brain, where it is located, that is important. Okay, human beings and most of the animals are what? Okay, we are vertebrates, especially for vertebrates. Another name we can call craniata. Why we are called craniata? For us having what? Skull. Okay, which is what protects skull. Inside the skull, inside the crania, okay, and brain is located. Brain is located in, okay, where it is located? In cranial cavity. Okay, brain is located in cranial cavity. Okay, brain is located in cranial cavity. The skull, the craniata protects the brain. Okay, how it is made up of brain? We are discussing about the brain. That is especially for think tank. We can call think tank. About this brain is made up of what? Approximately human being brain is made up of 100 billions of neurons. 100 billions of neurons. Billions of neurons. It is made up of 100 billions of neurons and blood vessels and tissues, epithelial tissue and connective tissue, whatever tissues are. It is made up of what? And also glial cells. The glial cells, what? Which are the helping cells of glial nervous system. Okay, so that our brain is made up of what? 100 billions of neurons, and also what? It consists blood vessels, and also what? Glial cells, and made up of tissues. Okay, our brain is located in cranial cavity. Cranial cavity. The cranial cavity protects, so that our brain is located in cranial cavity. Okay. Anyway, okay, the 100 billions of neurons is made up of 100 billions of neurons. Okay, our brain weight, the weight of the brain. Generally, okay, weight of the brain, okay, approximately, and in male 1400 grams, that means approximately 1380 grams, okay, in male, and female 1180 grams, like that. Okay, so that approximately 1200 grams in male. That means the brain weight of the brain is what? Approximately what? 1400 grams, okay, in male, and female 1200 to 1300 grams in female, approximately. Okay, the brain especially located in cranial region. Okay, so that it is located in cranial region. It is made up of 100 billions of neurons, blood vessels, tissues, neuroglial cells, helping cells, and the weight of the brain in male approximately 1380 grams, and in female 1180 grams, 1180 grams. Okay, approximately that is the weight of the brain, which is located in our cranial cavity. Okay, now, okay, what are the various types of brain? Is divided into three parts. Okay, brain is divided into three parts. One, the first part is prosencephalon. Okay, what we call the first one? Prosencephalon. Okay, prosencephalon, and also called prosencephalon, and also called forebrain, and second one is mesencephalon, and mesencephalon, and also called midbrain. Mesen means middle, midbrain, middle brain, mesencephalon, and the rhombencephalon. The rhomben means what? The last, that is nothing but hindbrain. Okay, so that the brain is divided into three parts. One is prosencephalon, okay, second one is mesencephalon, and third one is rhombencephalon. The first one is forebrain, prosencephalon. So that the brain, it is approximately 1400 grams, which is located in cranial region. The brain is divided into three parts. One is prosencephalon, and second one is mesencephalon, and third one is what? Okay, rhombencephalon or hindbrain. Okay, prosen and mesen and hindbrain. So that the brain is divided into three parts. Okay, the first one is what? Prosencephalon or forebrain. The prosencephalon or forebrain divided into three parts. One is especially for, okay, optic bulbs, and second one is cerebrum, the largest part of the brain, and third part is diencephalon. So that forebrain is divided into three parts. One is optic bulb, second one is cerebrum, and third one is diencephalon. Okay, mesencephalon, it is not divided anything. Okay, in that we are observed what? Optic lobes. And third one, rhombencephalon, is divided into three types. One is panspermia, and second one is cerebellum, second largest part, cerebellum, and third one is medulla. Okay, medulla oblongata. Okay, these are the parts especially for the brain, divided into three parts: prosen, mesen, and the rhomben are nothing but we can call forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. And forebrain divided into three parts. One is optic bulbs, cerebrum, and diencephalon. and pan. Okay, midbrain. In the midbrain, optic lobes are located, and Rambencephalon hindbrain is divided into three types. One is pons varoli, cerebellum, and also medulla oblongata. Okay, if you observe the diagram, this is called forebrain. The forebrain means what? Prosen, starting. Okay, it is a starting brain, the first brain. Okay, especially for prosencephalon. The midbrain is located between hypothalamus and thalamus, and the last one is hindbrain. Forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Okay, so that it is divided into three parts. Brain is divided into three parts: prosencephalon, mesencephalon, and also rhambencephalon. Okay, now here the first one we are going to discuss about what? Prosencephalon. Prosencephalon, nothing but forebrain. Okay, so that we have to discuss here. First one, prosencephalon. Here the first one, prosencephalon. Okay. In prosencephalon, especially for divided into three parts. One is optic bulbs. Okay, so that I will write here optic bulbs. Optic bulb, the bulb-like structure which is located in anterior part. The main function of optic bulb, the main function, for example, this is the brain. Okay, for example, this is a forebrain. In forebrain, optic bulb is located in anterior region, front side, and which is the nerves are enter into the what? Especially for nose. Okay, epithelium of the nose. Okay, so that optical bulb, it is the main function is what? Olfactory. Okay, detectors or receptors. Okay, so that olfactory means what? Smell. It observes what? Smells. So the main function of optic bulb, which is located a very small part, which is located, it is a part of forebrain, which is located especially for front side of the cerebrum. Okay, it is located in front side of the forebrain, and small part it's sending the nerves, which nerves? Olfactory nerves into the nose, which is useful to detect what? Smell. Olfactory bulb. After olfactory bulb, very important part of the brain, that is we can call cerebrum. Okay, here the word given what? Cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Very important. Largest part of the brain. Part of the brain. Okay. If anybody is asking which is the largest part of the brain, is called cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Okay, cerebrum. This is what cerebrum. You can call cerebrum. It is the largest part of the brain. Okay, it is especially for in cerebrum. For example, I will draw. Okay, this is a lateral view. The lateral view of the brain. Okay, if you observe. This cerebrum, for example, drawn here, a rough diagram only. Okay, if you observe, this is cerebrum. The cerebrum divided into two hemispheres. This is what we can call hemispheres. It is divided into sphere. Hemi means off. Okay, so that it is divided into two hemisphere, right hemisphere and left hemisphere. The hemisphere divided with what? Longitudinal fissure. One groove is there. That is especially which is useful to separate. Right and left what? Hemisphere. So that cerebrum is the largest part of the forebrain. It is divided, it is classified into two parts. How it is classified, how it is divided? It is divided with what? Longitudinal. So that what we call longitudinal longitudinal fissure, just like a groove, longitudinal fissure. Okay, so that in an examination so many times asked, which is divide the cerebrum into two parts, means what? Longitudinal fissure. It is divides the cerebrum into two hemispheres, two parts, that is we can call two hemispheres. This one hemisphere, this is one hemisphere. Okay, so that it is divided into two parts, longitudinal fissure. And how these two, okay, this is the right and left hemispheres are connected. Right and left hemispheres are connected with what? Okay, one, especially for what we call, this is especially for nervous bundle. Okay, one nervous bundle is there, nerve bundle. That nerve bundle we can call corpus commissure. What we call corpus commissure, are nothing but corpus callosum, are also called corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. Okay, so the first, in especially for cerebrum divided into two hemispheres with longitudinal fissure. Then these two hemispheres are connected with nerve bundle. That nerve bundle we can call especially for corpus commissure or corpus callosum. Okay, try to remember. And very important here, this cerebrum is the largest part, and which is a gray color matter. The largest we can call, this is the made up of what? Cortex. This part we can call the upper part of cerebrum, upper part, that is we can call cortex. This cortex, especially for, we are observed lot of foldings in that, especially human being brain, the forebrain, especially for cerebrum. Cerebrum is the site of thinking, site of memory, site of sensory, motor and association activities, whatever is their sensations. So that it is everything in that only, especially for, so that what will be happen, memory, everything is low. So that it is a very complex in structure. Okay, so that especially if you observe the human being being compared with other animals brain, the human being, other animals brain is what? The upper surface, that means cerebrum is very soft, little bit soft compared with human being. Human beings cerebrum, if you observe it there, okay, for example I will draw here, we will observe lot of foldings, especially for this type of foldings we are observed, especially for in cerebrum. These foldings we can call, especially for foldings we can call gyres, and whatever grooves is there inside we can call sulcis. Okay, very important. What is gyrus and sulcis? Gyrus and sulcis, for example, that is the surface area of cerebrum. In human being, the surface area of cerebrum is more complex, and we are observed more convolutions are nothing but we can call lot of foldings we are observed. These foldings in brain, whatever foldings is there in brain, these foldings we are called gyres. And inside the groove, deep depth, inside what? Deep into the whatever foldings, that deep part are grooves we can call sulcis. Sulcis are nothing but we can call grooves. Okay, so that the gyres and sulcis are foldings of what? Cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest part. What is the use of gyres and sulcis? Gyre and sulcis are the foldings of convolutions of what? Cerebrum. These are useful to increase the surface area of brain. Increase the surface area. Increase the surface area of the cerebrum. Increase the surface area of the cerebrum. Okay. These foldings sometimes increase the surface area of the cerebrum. So that gyres and sulcis are useful to increase the surface area of the cortex of cerebrum. Okay, remember that point, very very important. Okay, so that what we learned about what CN, especially for prosencephalon, forebrain. Forebrain is divided into the first part, optic bulb, and optic bulbs are main functioning what? Olfactory receptors or detectors are nothing but we can call observe the smells. And next one very important part, cerebrum. And cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Cerebrum is divided into two parts, two hemispheres. Two hemispheres are divided with longitudinal fissure, and two hemispheres are connected with corpus calloseum or corpus callosum. And this cerebrum, the cerebrum is the largest part of the forebrain and largest part of the brain. This cerebrum is we are observed a lot of foldings, especially human being brain, more complexity. Why? Because especially for we are developed animals, our memory and thinking power is more, so that it is more complex. These foldings we can call especially for gyres. And whatever deeper inside the grooves, that the grooves, whatever foldings is there, these grooves we can call sulci. Okay, this is we can call sulci. These foldings we can call especially for these these foldings we can call gyres. These grooves we can call sulci. Okay, these are useful for increase the surface area of the cortex of what? Cerebrum. Okay, try to remember that points. Okay, and what are the main functions of cerebrum? The main function already I am told, memory, thinking, everything. Okay, so that the main function sensory and the motor and association nerves enter into the these three activities. Sensory means what? It observes the sense, especially for observe what from sensory organs. Sensory nerves enter into the our cerebrum, and it is sending them and giving the response, and observe the detecting what sensations and detecting what motors and association was. It is doing sensory, motors and association was by cerebrum. Okay, the cerebrum is the very important part of the brain. And okay, in cerebrum, especially for the cerebrum is divided into four lobes. What is lobes? Okay, I will draw one diagram, one more diagram, please. Okay, cerebrum, sorry. Okay, cerebrum. What is cerebrum? The first part of the forebrain, largest part of the forebrain, this part. And cerebrum, for example, I will draw here. Okay, draw diagram. Okay. For example, this is the cerebrum. Okay, largest part of the brain. The cerebrum is classified, divided into four lobes. What are that lobes? Okay, this is called frontal lobe. I will explain what is lobe. Frontal lobe. This is called parietal lobe. Parietal lobe. And this region, in backside region, whatever is there, this region we can call occipital lobe. Occipital lobe. And this is the lateral region we can call especially for temporal lobe. So that what is lobe? The cerebrum is classified or divided into four lobes. What is that lobe? Lobe is nothing. Lobe is a projection, round structure, which is a round or narrower structure, which is useful to divide the parts. For example, liver is also divided into what? Three parts. Okay, anterior, posterior lobes, like that. Here also the brain lobe is nothing but it is a round projections, round and narrower projection, which is useful to divide the organ into two or more parts. For example, this is the frontal lobe, one lobe. Okay, this is parietal lobe, which is the top parietal lobe, and this is the backside occipital lobe, and the lateral side region we can call temporal lobe. So that the brain, especially for which one, cerebrum is divided into four lobes. Okay, try to remember. The first four lobes are we can call parietal lobe, frontal lobe, parietal lobe top, and occipital lobe in back side. This is occipital, this is the parietal, this is frontal, this is lateral lobe. So that the brain is divided into four lobes. Okay, that is what. Okay, especially for frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. Temporal lobe. Okay. Okay, this is the information about cerebrum. Okay, what we learned about largest part. Okay, largest part of the brain. Okay, largest part of the brain, and second one is what, especially for it is divided into two hemispheres with what, especially for longitudinal fissure and connected with nerve bundle. The nerve bundle we can call corpus callosum, corpus commissure, and foldings we can call gyrus and sulcus, increase the surface area of the cerebrum cortex. And okay, in cerebrum, especially for the main functions of cerebrum, sensory and motor and association functions. And now, especially for this cerebrum is divided into four lobes. One is frontal lobe, and second one is parietal lobe, and third one is occipital lobe, and fourth one is temporal lobe. So that the cerebrum is divided into four parts. The very important thing is it is the largest part of the brain. Okay, so that now we are going to discuss about the third part of forebrain. The third part of forebrain we can call diencephalon. Okay, after optic lobe, cerebrum, diencephalon. Generally, diencephalon is the posterior part of the forebrain. The diencephalon is divided into three parts. One is epithalamus, and the second one is thalamus, and third part is what, hypothalamus. Okay, so the diencephalon is divided into three parts. What are they? Especially for epithalamus, the posterior part of the forebrain, we can call diencephalon. Okay, diencephalon divided into three parts. One is epithalamus, second one is hypothalamus, and the third one is, okay, third one is especially for thalamus and hypothalamus. Okay. Here, the first one, epithalamus. Epithalamus, especially, epithalamus is the first part of what, diencephalon. Diencephalon is the posterior part of the forebrain. In epithalamus is the roof. Okay, roof of what? Especially for forebrain. Roof of forebrain, which is attached, almost all attached to the what? Especially for plexus. Okay, so that the epithalamus, in that epithalamus, which is attached to pineal body, is attached. Pineal body, circadian rhythms, which is the epithalamus in roof of the diencephalon. This part you can call epithalamus. Epithalamus, okay, forms anterior, okay, choroid. Anterior choroid. The important point is in epithalamus, it is non-nervous. It is not made up of what, nervous system. Non-nervous epithelium. Okay, it is made up of epithelial tissue, and also it is a non-nervous. It is a forms a roof of what? Roof of what? Diencephalon. So that it is a non-nervous, very important. Okay, in that pineal body is attached, that is a gland, pineal gland is attached in epithalamus. And second part, okay, thalamus, especially for this part we can call thalamus. This part we can call, this is the epithalamus, this part we can call thalamus. Thalamus is the main part of what? Diencephalon. Especially it is useful for sensory and motor. It observes sensory and motor nerves. Motor, signals. We know it is what is sensory. Okay, stimulus. Stimulus is sending into the brain. That is sensory signals. And after analyzing, it is sending the response. That is we can call especially for motor signals. The motor signals and sensory signals occurs in thalamus. Thalamus is the second part of what? Diencephalon. And third one is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, it is the endocrine, that is what hormonal, especially for pituitary gland. Pituitary gland, especially for, if you observe, this is the third part of diencephalon, we can call hypothalamus, which is a long part, which is a stalk-like structure, we can call infundibulum. Infundibulum. In infundibulum, one, there's a round structure is what attached. That is we can call pituitary gland. So that hypothalamus is the posterior part of the diencephalon. In posterior part of the hypothalamus, one stalk-like structure is there. That is we can call infundibulum. In end of the infundibulum, it is attached with what? Pituitary gland, a very master gland. Pituitary gland is attached to the hypothalamus, hormonal secretions. Okay, so that diencephalon is the posterior part of the forebrain. Diencephalon is divided into three parts. One is epithalamus, non-neuron. It is not made up of neuron, it is made up of choroid, anterior choroid, epithelial. Okay, so that the roof of what? Epithelial, that is the roof of epithelial, diencephalon we can call epithalamus. Epithalamus, end of the epithalamus, pineal bodies, a pineal gland is located. And next part of the major part of the diencephalon we can call thalamus. Thalamus is the main function of thalamus. It is made up of nerves, sensory and motor signals. It is detecting sensory and motor signals. And third part, which is what just like a stalk-like structure, hypothalamus. In that stalk-like structure, the end of the stalk-like structure we can call infundibulum. Okay, infundibulum. At the end of the infundibulum, one round structure, very small round structure is attached, that is pituitary gland. Okay, so that diencephalon divided into three parts: epithalamus, thalamus and hypothalamus. That is the posterior part of the forebrain. So that just will raise that forebrain divided into three parts: optic bulb, that is which are sending nerves, olfactory nerves into the nose, especially for it is olfactory. That means it does detect what? Smell. Second one, very largest part of the forebrain, that is we can call cerebrum. Cerebrum divided into two hemispheres. It is divided with longitudinal fissure. It is connected with nerve bundle, that is corpus commissure or corpus callosum, and also it is a lot of foldings is there. Foldings, that is we can call gyrosine sulcus. These foldings are increase the surface area of the forebrain or cerebrum. Okay, then cerebrum main functions is sensory, motor and association. Main function memory, everything is what? In that only. Logical thinking, everything is in, especially for cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Cerebrum divided into four lobes: frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, lateral lobe. Frontal lobe, parietal lobe, okay, and occipital lobe and temporal lobe. Okay, it is divided into four lobes. Okay, so that our next part you can call diencephalon. Diencephalon is divided into three parts: epithalamus, the roof of what? Thalamus, posterior part of the forebrain. Roof of thalamus we can call what? Epithalamus. It is attached with what? Pineal body attached with what? Epithalamus. It is a non-neuron or non-nervous system. Okay, this forms what? Anterior choroid. Okay, this forms, epithalamus forms what? Anterior choroid. It is non-nervous. Okay, and next one is thalamus. Thalamus is the, okay, the main part of what? Diencephalon. It is the largest part, and in Diencephalon, it is the main functions are sensory and motor. And third one, which is a stalk-like structure. This is the stalk-like structure. For example, this is stalk-like structure. This is we can call infundibulum. In infundibulum, end of the so that I will write infundibulum. End of the infundibulum, okay, pituitary gland is attached. Pituitary gland is attached. Okay, this is the information about what cerebrum. After cerebrum, next one we will need to discuss about midbrain. After forebrain, next one is what? Midbrain. What is midbrain? In middle, where it is located? Midbrain. Okay, I'm already told the forebrain. In forebrain, the largest part, that is what? Cerebrum. It is divided 3 parts. What about midbrain? Where it is located? Mesencephalon. It is located between hypothalamus and thalamus. That means the small part which is located in this region. So that, what are the main points of midbrain? Midbrain is located between, midbrain is located between hypothalamus and thalamus. First point. Okay, thalamus and hypothalamus is the posterior part of the forebrain. Okay, so midbrain is located between hypothalamus and thalamus. Second point. Okay, this region it is located. Which is located? Midbrain, very small part. Midbrain is located. And midbrain is, it is divided into ventral, front part and dorsal part. Okay, midbrain, smallest part which is located in this region, that is between thalamus and hypothalamus, smallest part. The ventral side of the midbrain, it is ventral side of the midbrain, it is having what? Longitudinal bands. Okay, so that, for example, this is the midbrain. Okay, it has 2 pairs of longitudinal bundles. That longitudinal bundle, ventral side, this is ventral, dorsal. For example, ventral side of midbrain. Ventral side of midbrain, 2 longitudinal bands. These 2 longitudinal bands we can call crura cerebri. What we call? Crura cerebri. Okay, the names are very difficult to remember. Okay, cerebral peduncles also. Cerebral peduncles. Okay, what is cerebral peduncles? Cerebral peduncles means the ventral side of midbrain. Midbrain is located between thalamus and hypothalamus. In ventral side of the midbrain, 2 longitudinal, this like this, longitudinal bands is there. These 2 longitudinal bands we can call crura cerebri or cerebral peduncles. Remember, the name is okay. Next one, what about the dorsal side of the midbrain? The dorsal side of the midbrain, especially for, it is located with what? Optic lobes. Okay, optic lobe. 2 optic lobes are large in size, 2 optic lobes are small in size. These 4 optic lobes we can call corpora quadrizemina. What we call? Corpora quadrizemina. What is corpora quadrizemina? That means the dorsal part. Okay, for example, this is ventral part, this is dorsal part. Okay, for example, this is what especially for midbrain. In Midbrain, ventral part of the midbrain, it is having longitudinal bands. How many? One pair of longitudinal bands. That longitudinal bands we can call what? Okay, especially for cerebral peduncles. And what about the dorsal side of the midbrain? And dorsal side of the midbrain, four optic round structure, four optic lobes is there. In that four optic lobes, the four optic lobes we can call corpora quadrigemina. Corpora quadrigemina. These four optic lobes, two optic lobes are large in size. We can call superior caliculi. What we call? Which are large in size. We can call superior caliculi. Superior caliculi, which are small in size, we can call inferior caliculi. Okay, clear everyone? Okay, so that you have to remember 3 points. First point is what? Midbrain is located in between thalamus and hypothalamus. That is the posterior part of the forebrain. In midbrain is the second part of the brain. In midbrain, in ventral side, longitudinal bands is there. That is we can call cerebral peduncles or crura cerebri. And dorsal side, four optic lobes is there. The front lobes are large in size. The posterior lobes are small in size. Which are large in size, that is we can call superior caliculi. Which are small in size, we can call inferior caliculi. So that what we call? So four optic lobes which are upper region, which are anterior region, that is superior caliculi, which are large in size. Which are in down, which is okay inferior, that is inferior caliculi. These four optic lobes we can call corpora quadrigemina. What is the main function of corpora quadrigemina or optic lobes or dorsal region of the midbrain? The main function is what? Vision. The main function of vision and also what? Olfactory smell. Okay, detect what? Smell. So main function of midbrain is what? Okay, in that optic lobes are located. Two optic lobes are large in size, we can call superior caliculi, and two optic lobes are small in size. So there are four optic lobes we can call corpora quadrigemina. In that first two are large, superior caliculi, inferior caliculi, which are small. Superior caliculi, inferior caliculi, all are we can call corpora quadrigemina. These four lobes are useful for detect what? Vision and to observe what? Smell. So that is what? Midbrain. Okay. Okay. What we learned? First one what? Forebrain, and second one is midbrain. And third one, what about hindbrain? Hindbrain or rhombencephalon. Rhombencephalon. Okay, third word you can call, so that I will write hindbrain. Hindbrain or rhombencephalon. Rhombencephalon is divided into three parts: pons varolii, and the second part cerebellum, and third part medulla. Okay, pons varolii, cerebellum, and third part we can call medulla. Here the first one, if you observe the first one, especially for pons varolii. What is pons varolii? Okay, the pons varolii is nothing but we can call relay station. Relay station. What is the relay station? Not a radio station, relay station. That means what? Where it is located, pons varolii. Okay, see, this is a forebrain, this part forebrain, this is the midbrain, this part is called, okay, this last part we can call hindbrain. Hindbrain is the first part we can call pons varolii. Pons varolii, this part. Okay, that is we can call relay station. Relay station, it is located, it lies between in front of cerebellum, in front of cerebellum and okay, end of posterior part of the medulla. This is medulla, this is cerebrum. Okay, this part is called hindbrain. Hind this side. Okay, hindbrain. Here the first part is pons varolii is located in front of cerebellum and posterior end of what? Medulla. What is the main function of what? Pons varolii. It is the relay station, the mediator, relay station, sending the signals from cerebellum to spinal cord. So that what is the main function of pons varolii? Pons varolii is nothing but we can call relay station, and the relay station means what? It is sending the signals from cerebellum to spinal cord. So that you have to remember. And second point, pneumotaxic center. Pons varolii, one more is the relay station, pneumotaxic center. What is pneumotaxic centers? Pneumotaxic centers means it involves in the central of the respiratory muscles. It controls the respiratory muscles. Pneumotaxic means what? It control. Which control? Pons varolii. What is pons varolii? First part of the hindbrain. It is lies in front of cerebellum and end of what? Posterior part of the medulla. This is medulla. Okay, this is called relay station. Why it is called relay station? It is sending the signals from cerebellum to spinal cord. And it is also useful for pneumotaxic. Pneumotaxic means what? It controls respiratory muscles. What is respiratory muscles? How it is control respiratory muscles? Respiratory muscles, what? Okay, the muscles are increasing and decreasing. The cause of what? Especially for relay station, nothing but we can call pons varolii. It is what air, how much air is enter into the what? Respiratory muscle. The cause of what? Pneumotaxic, or nothing but we can call pons varolii. The main function is how much air is need to enter. That is the especially for the volume of air entering and sending out. The muscles are functioning with what? Control with what? Pons varolii. Respiratory muscles. So that the name given pneumotaxic. Pneumotaxic. Okay, second part we can call hindbrain. So that you have to remember relay station and pneumotaxic. It controls what? What it controls? Respiratory muscles. And second part we can call cerebellum. What you have to remember about the cerebellum? The cerebellum is the second largest part. Second largest part. Okay, first largest part is what? Cerebrum. Cerebellum is the second largest part of the brain. That is we can call cerebellum. Cerebellum, especially for, it is also divided with what? It is also divided with two hemispheres. It is also divided with two hemispheres. Okay, this is the right and left hemispheres divided with what? Especially one more part is there. This is what? Vermis. So that, okay, this is the hindbrain. We can call especially for hindbrain. The main part is what? Cerebellum. And cerebellum divided into two hemispheres with what? Vermis. The middle, okay, whatever the structure is there, that is we can call vermis. Okay, vermis. So that it is divided into, okay, anterior hemisphere and, okay, right and left hemispheres. Each and every hemisphere, this is hemispheres. This hemisphere divided into three parts: anterior lobe, posterior lobe, and third one is floccular nodule or lobe. So that you have to remember. Okay, I will give figure. Okay, here if you observe it, then the third part, second part is cerebellum. Cerebellum is the, so that I will write here cerebellum. Cerebellum is the second largest part. Second largest part of brain. And it is made up of what? It is divided into two hemispheres. Two hemispheres with what? Vermis. Two hemispheres with vermis. Okay. And also each hemisphere divided into three lobes. One is anterior lobe, posterior lobe, and third one is floccular lobes. Okay, so that the each hemisphere, that means whatever cerebrum divided two hemispheres, each hemisphere again divided into three lobes. Already I am told what lobe is the part which is useful to divide the organ into two or more parts. Okay, that is which are round projections, round structures, that is we can call lobes. Okay, here also, okay, here for example, if you observe that this is one lobe divided into three parts. Okay, this is anterior, posterior, and this is floccular lobe or nodules. Okay, that is what cerebellum. What is the main function of cerebellum? Cerebellum controls, okay, cerebellum controls what? It controls the locomotory. Okay, locomotory, especially for responsible for control and coordination of locomotory movements. Control and coordination of locomotory movements, which is cerebellum. Control and coordination of locomotory movements, very very important. And cerebellum and also called gyroscope of the brain. Why it is called gyroscope? One is it control. Which control? Cerebellum. What is cerebellum? That is the second largest part of the brain. That is a part of hindbrain. Cerebellum, the main function is it control and coordination locomotory movements, voluntary movements. It control and coordination of voluntary movements. Second point. It is also called gyroscope of brain. Gyroscope of brain. Why it is called gyroscope of brain? It controls equilibrium. It is balancing. Already I am told. Balanced. It balances the body. Which is balanced? Cerebellum. Cerebellum balances the body. It controls voluntary movements. For example, the drunken person is moving here and there. Why? It affects what? Cerebellum. Cerebellum, the main functions of cerebellum is the second largest part, which is located in hindbrain. The first is what? It controls what? Locomotory movements, voluntary movements, walking or movements of the hands, whatever is the voluntary movements. And second one is what? It is called gyroscope of the brain. That means what? It maintains the equilibrium, balance of the body. That's why a drunken person is what? Imbalanced. Okay, so remember these 2 points. Okay, especially for damage of cerebellum, it is cause of ataxia disease. Damage of what? Damage of cerebellum. If cerebellum is damaged, what will be happen? It cause of disease. That disease we can call ataxia. What is ataxia? Uncontrolled voluntary movements. That means we are walking, we are standing straight, especially controlled our body, equilibrium by what? Cerebellum. But sometimes if cerebellum is damaged, it causes of ataxia. What is ataxia? Uncontrolled movements of voluntary movements. Uncontrolled voluntary movements, that is we can call ataxia. Damage of, it cause of what? Damage of what? Cerebellum. cerebellum. Okay, cerebellum. Cerebellum is the third part of the brain. Sorry, second part of the what? Second part of the hindbrain. And third part of the hindbrain we can call medulla. Sorry, 1 minute. Okay, third part of the hindbrain we can call medulla. Okay, this is a stalk-like structure. This part we can call medulla. Okay, medulla. The medulla is made up of whitish nerve fibers. It is the medulla is a region, especially for this is a cortex region, this is a medulla region. Whitish it is made up of nerve fibers, white nerve fibers. And medulla is a stalk-like structure which connects what pons varolii with what, especially for spinal cord. It is going outside, especially for medulla is the this region we can call which connects what cerebellum and pons varolii with spinal cord, that is we can call medulla, stalk-like structure. This is the called medulla. Especially for what is the main functions of medulla? The main functions of medulla oblongata, the posterior most part of the brain, posterior most part of the brain, it extended from pons varolii above and continues with the spinal cord below. Okay, what is especially for medulla? What is the main functions of medulla oblongata? Medulla oblongata, cardiovascular, respiratory centers, the centers for swallowing, vomiting, coughing, sneezing, hiccups. Medulla oblongata is the main function. Medulla oblongata is the part which connects what, especially for which connects cerebellum with what, spinal cord. Okay, and what is the main functions of what, medulla oblongata? This is medulla oblongata. It connects pons varolii with what? Pons varolii with spinal cord, and this center is main important for cardiovascular, vomiting, hiccups, everything is swallowing, the food swallowing is also controlled by what? Medulla oblongata. Okay, that is the last part of the hindbrain. Last part of the hindbrain. Okay, so that these are the structures of the brain. Okay, I forgot one point. We will discuss about that point also. Okay, just brain. Already I am told. Brain is located in our cranial cavity. Already I am told it is located in our cranial cavity. Okay, it is located in cranial cavity. Brain is protected with what? Layers. Brain is protected. For example, this is the brain. Example only. This is brain. This brain is this brain especially for covered with what? Protective layers. Brain is covered with what? Protective layers. These protective layers, that means we can call meninges. Meninges. What is meninges? Meninges are nothing but protective layers of brain. Protective layers. So that, for example, this is the brain. This brain is covered with what? Meninges. How many meninges? The human being brain is covered with what? 3 membranes. Example, 3 membranes. The 3 membranes, if you observe, outer membrane, which is a double membrane, we can call dura mater, and middle membrane we can call arachnoid matter. The thinner membrane, which is attached, almost attached to the forebrain, that is we can call pia mater. Pia mater. Okay. So that the forebrain is covered with what? 3 membranes. So that brain is a protective layer, we can call meninges. Meninges are 3 types. One is dura mater, arachnoid matter, which is the middle one, and which is the inner membrane, that is the thinner membrane, we can call diamater. Here dura mater is the double membrane, which is attached, almost all attached to the what, cranial cavity. Okay, so that try to remember these are what in brain is also covered with what, membrane. Okay, in brain, especially for ventricles is there, cavities is there in brain cavities. In brain cavities, okay, we'll discuss brain cavities are, okay, four types of cavities is there in brain. One is especially for lateral cavities, paraseals. The lateral cavities are located in right and left cerebrum. And the second one is, second cavity is diaceal, which is located in diencephalon. And third cavity is located in diencephalon. Fourth cavity is located, and fourth one is medulla. Fourth cavity. So that is we can call, okay, brain ventricles. Brain ventricles, especially for two ventricles or two cavities are located in right and left side of the cerebrum hemispheres. Lateral region, lateral cavities or lateral paraseals also we can call. And second one diaceal, and third one is what, especially for, okay, medulla seal. Okay, that means what, cavities. In cavities, what will be happening in ventricles, CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, which is a liquid, which is okay, shock absorber, which protects nutrients, which gives, okay, in that ventricles, okay, some fluid is what, moving from cerebro to spinal cord, that is we can call CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. We will discuss later about the, okay, brain ventricles. Okay, are you clear? What we learned about the brain structure? Brain is divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain divided into three parts: optic bulb, cerebrum, and diencephalon. Okay, optic bulb, olfactory, cerebrum, and also what, third part is we can call, especially for what we call diencephalon, midbrain, and third one is hindbrain. Hindbrain is divided into pons varolii, and second part cerebellum, and third part medulla. Medulla extended like a spinal cord. Okay, thank you very much.